Attention, denizens of the Imperial Palace and beyond. This Voxcast publique is designated Alpha Prioris. Continue your operations, but listen well to this very important announcement. Thought for the day. Even the fact that we have to come up with thoughts for you like this shows just how inept and mindless you sheeple are. Start thinking for yourselves, why don't you? You have a brain. Make your thoughts, you Vox brain parasites. But don't think too much, because they'll end you up in heresy jail.
Attention class. It is I, Professor Emperor. I am here today to talk to you about hatred. Everyone experiences hatred at some point in their life, whether they embrace it or actively try to avoid it. In fact, the 41st millennium is a perfect breeding ground for hatred. In this age, the Imperium is like a giant cesspool of deranged dolphins ripping out one another's blowholes with their razor-fitted willies. And how can one expect anything less? These dolphins know nothing but hate. They see each other as repulsive dolphinations that deserve murder, and only murder. A sea dolphin looks to a river dolphin and goes, "No, stop, you look like a vacuum-extracted pterodactyl fish, stop existing right now," and then proceeds to kill him in cold blood. That is the Imperium today, and it is awful, because river dolphins are actually great. Trust me, I am a professor, and this shit is peer-reviewed through 7 hells of COAS and back.
What's a dolphin?
Shut up, boy! Everyone knows what a dolphin is. It is a hateful life form. Just like you, boy. Just like you. Stop being such a hater!
Silence. I advise you halt your mouth and carefully consider the words you use when speaking to this boy, Shield Captain.
Defending the hater, are we? Unsurprising. He's not the only hateful little shit you've sired, you fuzzy Dolbin sympathizer.
Where did Shotgun come from?
Sorry to interject, but honestly, I don't know what a Dolblin is either. Would be nice if our glorious overlord could provide some context for the words he uses now and again. But that's neither here nor there, is it?
Who cares? This whole Doblins parable is just another one of our Emperor's glorious segues, really. It shouldn't take you this much time to wrap your brain loads around it.
Terrorists, what crawled up your collective bowels and self-terminated?
The entire Dublin throne, most likely.
You stop that right now, mister!
Screw it. What I wanted to get to was the following. To deal with my Imperium's incessant hatred, we first need the definitive poster boys of said hatred examined, because the Imperium has poster boys for everything.
Oh, perfect. I can only guess who these boys on posters might be. Could you hazard a guess, Adorable? Could you? Could you guess who they might be? Could you fathom who they might be? Come on, give me a guess. Hazard the most basic, fathomable guess. Give a guess as to whom they could...
Was that necessary?
I could. I totally could. Totally.
So we are talking about the Black Templar Space Marine chapter today, the Imperium of Men's definitive poster boys for hatred and anger.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, that's actually what I was gonna guess. Who called it? I did. I totally did. Did you call it too, Adorable? I'm sure you did.
Get out of this palace, whelp.
Man alive, that was a weak segue.
Oh, hold on. You dare call our can't believe he's not holy emperor's segue
Please
weak?
be quiet!
We are only a few minutes in, and I am already feeling a giga headache coming on from this constant squabbling. To get to the point, we have with us the Black Templars Codex, which is one of a kind, with no previous or subsequent versions as far as we know.
Here it is.
The reason for discussing this Space Marine chapter in particular is because of their distinct resemblance to a sentient slaughter train derailing and taking out all nearby bystanders up to and including poor little Jimmy. Their certifiable insanity would make GOG Evan Dyer stop high-pumping his servitor for 1/16th of a nanosecond just so he could tell them to calm their shit down. Their butchery can be likened to an agri-world and insufficient marmalizing of its choice crop. I would love to say this is a good thing, but their traitor to innocent marmalizing clothing ratio is about as cute as the nutritional value of a civilian relief ration. Not even the White Scars would be able to keep up with the ultra-rapid crackdown these Marines conduct on Imperial folks born with heterochromia, or 1 to less than the galactic average. Whatever genetic deviation you might have is not to be tolerated at all ever, so watch out. Dornus angry boys in black are here, and if your navel protrudes just a bit, you are permanently on the marm list, you disgusting freak.
Father, please stop. The second-hand embarrassment is too severe.
It's also poisoning the well pretty thoroughly from the get-go.
Hey-ho, I am just stating the science facts here. The pure, burning hatred they carry for those they perceive as deviants has to be tempered.
And how would you go about, fixing them, sir?
I happen to have calculated that the best possible course of action is to rip a single Black Templar of great importance away from their eternal crusade and throw him in here for an anger management class.
No. That is an awful idea. Actually, it may be the worst idea.
No, it is not. I came up with it and peer-reviewed it.
Whom did you happen to have on hand to possibly be your peer in discussing this?
Your mother.
Father, you know that a tube is an untrustworthy source for professional proofreading.
Do not speak of your mother like that, you ungrateful garbage brat.
Anyway, considering the untrusting nature of the Templars, this could have an adverse effect on the Voxcast session, I would say.
We really don't want to repeat the last session, because that was a disaster.
I do not think it was that bad.
Oh, sure. Only had to bombard a few orbital plates, only like 4 or 5. Collateral damage only rose into the millions, nothing much really.
Well, I guess. At least if you were to compare it to the Black Templar's daily slaughter count. Hey, Dornable, fun fact. Did you know they once carried out 14 different sub-crusades throughout Segmentum Solar at the same time? The kill count was crazy.
Shut your mouth.
Who cares about casualties? It's not like the defense platforms were destroyed. Also, do you realize how insane Terra birth rates are? No matter how big the loss of life was, we'll be up to our previous number in a matter of hours.
Sure. They were expendable, of course, as all humans are unless they're dressed up in copious amounts of gold.
All right, when did you all become such passive-aggressive jerks?
Ironic. Who are you referring to, though? Me? Champ? Or perhaps our Emperor?
No, the two of you. Our glorious overlord did not send the bombardment order, you did. You didn't even consider just telling them to stop having opinions. You are the Doblins.
I find orbital bombardment to be the most effective way of stopping dumb opinions, personally. That's something me and the Black Templars could agree on, I'm sure.
No, the Templars prefer murdering the innocent in close-quarters combat. If you're going to be committing acts of mass homicide, you can at least have the common decency to whip out your halberds.
Stop bickering, you tubs of baby oil. I, Professor Emperor, having an impressive service record with public relations, can attest to the fact that inviting a Black Templar is a good idea. Do me a favor and quell your uppity buckets.
Father, please, could you not summon a representative from another chapter? Most chapters in the galaxy use the concept of hatred as the core of their philosophies. You have plenty of options, and there are most certainly more hateful chapters out there.
That is why I sent out a quick scientific survey to all Space Marine chapters I could come across asking which chapter they thought embodied the concept of pure hatred the best. The Black Templars came out on top with 50% of the votes.
Who came in second place?
Are you familiar with the Marines' Malevolent chapter?
Sort of.
No.
Studies show that Gene Seed at times deviate from its standard template designs, resulting in abnormalities such as defective organs, bodily protrusions, or changes in skin color.
Alright. Bodily protrusions.
Duly noted.
Implanting a Marine with the Malevolence gene seed results in a serrated, glass-like fiber growing in the murky interiors of the Marine's hindquarters, grinding against his insides with his every movement. This unequivocally leaves the Marine a bitter, callous individual for the rest of his service, providing him a life of constant booty bother.
Citation needed.
Quiet.
Sounds to me like they're the prime clientele for the analgesics industry.
What's an analgesic?
Shut it, boy!
I find that the chapters who voted in this survey are confusing hatred embodied for hated by everyone. The Marines Malevolent do not hate as much as they are simply hated, mostly for stealing war gear and killing civilians. But if you want to invite a Malevolent here instead, I would be more than happy. We could punch his face in together. It would be wholesome family fun.
Looky here, I found the survey! Black Templars on top, followed by the Marines Malevolent, Flesh Terrors, Carcharodon Astra, Minotaurs, Doom Eagles, Red Scorpions, Iron Hands, Angry Marines?
Angry Marines? Who named that one?
I can see them being a thing, what with the, well, you know. Ever heard of the Bone Knives chapter? Yeah, that's a thing.
I tried looking further into this anchored Marine chapter, but I was constantly redirected to the Black Templars for some reason. Not sure what that is all about.
Maybe it's a popular synonym made up by people who didn't know the actual name of the chapter.
I have a suggestion. How about we make an episode about silly Space Marine chapter names, instead of covering the Black Templars, along with some malevolent punchings on the side?
No.
I want to talk about the Rainbow Warriors.
Professor Emperor is detecting notable changes in the atmosphere with high levels of spoiled garbage whining coming in from the Dorn Coast.
Just out of curiosity, could you please inform me as to why you are so insistent on not covering the Black Templars?
I am not close to prepared for a meeting with my wayward sons. This is too much to ask of me at this time.
Please don't force him to do what he doesn't want to do.
Oh, please. Remember when you forced me to discuss the meeting I had with the last priest on Terra in front of my entire Imperium, without having prepared in the least, not to mention that I had also actively suffered over 10,000 years of mental degradation. Do tell me you remember this.
Yes.
Good, then we are even Stevens, so fuck you. I shall now summon the chapter master of the Black Templars.
Father, it is a known fact that grit pressure is not measured in mass per square area. It is measured in force per square area.
What?
I have no idea what that has to do with anything at all ever.
I am telling you that you were wrong in your assessment concerning pressure in the last Voxcast. I did not want to say anything at the time, but I feel it fitting to bring it up now. If you remember, you made a rudimentary mathematical mistake when you spoke of Angron's inability to read books. It was quite silly. But, while I cannot fault you for making but a single error, this was only one of many. You proved without a doubt that you are fully capable of being in the wrong. Even while debating the cultist priest, you were barely making sound arguments. A shock to someone such as me, who has seen you convince entire armies to surrender arms only using haikus.
Stop speaking such rot, you uncultured piglet. I used senryu, not haikus.
Speech does not rot, but your mind seems to have. You should carefully consider your next actions, and perhaps listen to your son for once.
Please stop fighting.
Sorry, son. Chances are you were in the right. But that does not mean I am now in the wrong.
What?
Things change. You simply do not see the bigger picture, as of yet.
What?
How does any of what you just said excuse your inadequate fervor in debating the religious? Or your apparent lack of knowledge about a basic engineering principle? You were in the wrong, Father. None of what you said excuses that. And neither would it excuse you summoning yet another fanatic into these halls.
There is nothing to excuse, for it has been decided I was not wrong in the first place.
Oh, goodness gracious.
You seem to forget exactly what I am capable of. Your cold hatred for all things just outside your narrow perception blinds you from seeing the massive wrongdoings slapping you in the face. You may not notice them, but they are always there, consecutively slapping against your fuzzy chins, like flabby pork fillets.
You make it sound like you will alter the very workings of the galaxy itself just to be in the right.
Why would I need to know the science when the science itself is but an extension of my will?
As ridiculous as can be expected.
So, Does that mean pressure is measured in mass per square area now just because?
Pressure is measured in amount of hatred you have for life and the universe per square area.
Of course.
Hatred is abstract and cannot be measured by traditional means. Actually, you know what? Never mind.
Did you notice the wrong dungs, Rogel?
No.
Sure you didn't. Now, Professor Emperor is curious to see how the Black Templars measure up.
Fine. I will be putting on my helmet now. Bye.
For science. Welcome, Black Templar. Do not be frightened. Alright, scratch fragment. You are just mad. Stop being mad, please.
Who is speaking? What vile monotone simulacrum of the glorious human voice is this?
I should be the one asking that. Holy shit, you sound like you have gargled rockcrete and looks to cash for the better part of a millennium.
Who are you, skeleton?
So nice. Please try to keep your sword under control.
This whole guess thing never works out, does it?
I know what you are. You are a bunch of fucking witches! Magical whores! I, Helbrecht, High Marshal of the Black Templars, shall be your undoing! You will die! No pity! No remorse! No fear!
Dare deliver death threats to the Man Emperor of Mankind? You will pay for this treachery, you snooty, snoddling offspring!
Fuck you, eggplant scum!
Calm down.
My emperor.
You are Helbrecht, High Marshal of the Black Templars.
Yes, I am, my lord. Helbrecht, that is I.
My child, I brought you here so you could aid me with something. Are you interested?
Anything, my lord. I will do anything.
Good. First of all, you need to devour a fruit basket's worth of protoplasmogens, cause you just straight up sound like a goblin.
Yes, I will eat all the tablets in the galaxy for you. All of them. None will be spared.
Damn, that's rough to listen to.
My eardrums are leaking.
Secondly, I need you to answer me some questions concerning your Black Templars.
Oh, of course. I will answer all questions. I am honored beyond belief to have been chosen to answer the God Emperor's own questions concerning our eternal crusade.
All right, please be quiet.
By Zoas, balls, what is this noise?
These tones are making my thighs dry.
I have never been more horrified.
First, get this man summer bolty and a couch to lay on.
Serfs, you heard him!
This is the worst thing I have ever experienced. I want to punch every single Sigismund I can come across. My feet are quivering with rage, and this helmet smells of sulfur.
Am I to lie on this leather-wrapped pedestal?
It's called a couch here on Terra.
I see. It is not fashioned from stone. Why?
But because it's a couch. It's supposed to be comfortable.
Stone is a stronger material. You should consider making your next couch out of stone.
Wow.
Are you at the very least comfortable?
No.
How dare he?
Okay, it is a good thing I do not care.
Good, my Emperor. Apathy for the weak-willed is strength. None shall feel comfort until your will is done.
Please stop shouting.
I am not shouting. I am but exercising the might of my vocal cords, Emperor.
Listen here. I am to talk to you about the concept of hatred. Did you know that your Black Templars are the top-ranking embodiments of pure hatred amongst all loyal Space Marines?
Of course! I am honored, Emperor! We exemplify your burning hatred for the alien, the mutant, and the heretic, and we kill them in your name all the time! Hatred is a gift granted to us by you, as pure and holy as every other aspect of your divine being.
Refrain from projecting your disturbing Templar fantasies onto me, please. And also your spittle, if you can help
Yeah,
it.
you're being super creepy and weird.
Wah!
We are talking about you now, Helbrecht. Having said that, do you ever consider if your hatred might have you end up making some regrettable decisions?
I see now. This is a test of my purity.
The fuck it is?
I can assure you, my Emperor, I regret nothing!
Ow!
My porcelain!
I think I got cup shards in my eye.
Damn it.
Oh, come on. Stop whinging and wear a helmet, sir.
That was a perfectly constructed cup for beverages, Sigismund.
No! Do not listen to that eggplant small person. Your face is your shield. Hate your wound, and it will cease to exist.
Wow.
I cannot see.
Alright, shit. Helbrecht, listen. This is an intervention.
Oh, yes. I am quite adept at interventions. I am ready to intervene in the lives of all aliens, mutants, and heretics, and marmalize their disgusting innards.
Oh, that's fun.
Oh boy. Okay. Let us go through the functions of this stupid chapter of yours. Ready the codex.
It is prepared.
Good. Start off with the basics of Dorn's angry boys, and just why their pressure measures as high as the Hive City spire they regularly crush.
I'm hating this shard, but my eye's still not working.
You are not hating enough?
Codex. Black Templars.
Attention! I am your lector on the basics of the Black Templars. Boy,
Yes?
what are the Black Templars?
Space Marines?
Your answer is only half correct, much like your eyesight.
Chapter? Is it chapter?
Yes, this is correct. They are a Space Marine chapter, but they function in drastically different ways from the likes of the Ultramarines or the White Scars. Do you remember the White Scars?
Yes. They use bikes and hit the enemy when they don't think they will be attacked. Their chapter theme is about savaging the enemy tribes and bringing all humans together as one. They also have mustaches.
An acceptable answer. A bit on the shallow end, but good enough. What about the Ultramarines?
Hey, look at boy. He doesn't know who the Ultramarines are. Point at him and laugh.
Hear me, boy, for I will only say this once.
I listen.
The Ultramarines are a Space Marine chapter derived from the gene seed of the Primarch Rubuti Gilliman. They pride themselves immensely on their fanatical loyalty to the Space Marine chapter doctrine, that is the Codex Astartes, which their Primarch bend. Their tactics are very conventional and orthodox, thus their Marines can be expected to fill any form of battle role for any kind of war, while also excelling at most of them to boot.
So, what's the punchline?
There is none. I am genuinely sick of shitting on the Ultramarines.
You have shat upon the Ultramarines? Oh, that would have been a sight! How do you even defecate, my Emperor? I hope that it was not too hard nor too soft.
Fucking damn it, Helbrecht, please be quiet in class.
So yes, boy, looking at these 2 chapters and the information provided thus far, tell me about the Black Templars.
I think they are a Space Marine chapter, dedicated far more than most to the utter annihilation of all Xenos, like the Orcs, all traitors, like the creepy Koaz priest, and all mutants, like my friend Billy. They are incredibly destructive in battles and prefer to fight with close combat weapons, so they can personally make certain the filthy Xeno-heretic mutant is slaughtered. They're also probably not loyal to the Codex Astartes, sort of like the White Scars, but more. I extrapolates this from the fact that they are Dadorable's sons, and I know Dadorable doesn't like the Codex Astartes very much, and what with their aggressive and obsessive nature, I'm sure they are actively rebelling the usage of the Codex in its entirety.
Did anyone murder and replace Boy just now?
I don't know. I couldn't hear a word of that garbled mouth salad. Stop making consecutive noises, boy!
Shh, you be quiet now. This boy did something an actual cognitive life form would do for once. So, let us give him credit where credit is due.
My tendons are responding with delightful tugs. Yes, you are correct, boy.
Yay.
Good job, boy. I am proud.
Hey, I can learn things too. Remember the Space Wolves?
Did you learn how to read in the interim between the last Voxcast and this one?
No, my Emperor, I did not.
He does not know how to read. Everyone point at him and laugh.
No. Can you tell me more about your friend, Billy? Specifically that bit about him being a mutant?
Alright, let me use this as a SEGUE before it gets weird.
No mutants are allowed to tread us holy ground! None! Fuck!
This is exactly what I wanted to talk about. While I can appreciate your hatred for the Xenos and the traitors, your hatred for river dolphins is a bit too much.
River what?
First, however, tell me, Helbrecht, what is your understanding of the mutant?
There is no understanding the mutant. The non-standard human phenotypes are filth born defected from your perfect design. Spiritual corruption taking the form of malformed fucking deviants.
Here's the thing, though. They are still human.
I am not sure I understand. Are you sanctioning all mutants in this galaxy, my Emperor? Why?
Well, I am saying...
Why?
I am saying
Are
that...
you saying we have been wrong in slaying these alien crossbreeds, these many-limbed monstrosities, these telekinetic madmen, these beings with the countenance of actual literal sharks? Are you saying this, my Emperor?
I'm saying that perhaps you...
Why?
Perhaps you should give them a chance to be checked for sentience, intent, and loyalties before making the call about murdering them or not. And in the case of psychers, you could always call on the black ships to pick them up, you dumb idiot. That is exactly what they are there for.
But why? Why not just murder them? That is both easier and safer.
Looking through the lens of Imperial legislation, so would it be safer to dissolve the Black Templars in their entirety? And by entirety, I mean in your whole, unregulated, unsupervised entirety.
But why? Why, my Emperor? Fucking why?
Because you are a literal legion of self-righteous, religious lunatics that regularly murders my people. And do not try to grok shit me by trying to justify your massacres of the innocent, because then you are doing nothing but proving my point further.
Must not point out hypocrisy.
But they are mutants! They rebel against humanity!
Anyone who takes action and rebels against humanity, you are allowed to put down. But not all river dolphins rebel.
What? Dolphins? What?
Not all mutants rebel.
But they do! They rebel against your perfect form with their unnatural powers and fuck ugly faces!
In that same vein, you are rebelling against me for being bald and having a stupid perma-frown.
But I can fix this. I can get hair transplants. I will get hair transplants, my emperor. I am no rebel. I can also get plastic surgery. Please, my emperor. I am no rebel. I will be beautiful for you.
I think you just fell in your own dumb eugenics trap. Just because you can get hair transplants does not mean you can grow actual hair. This effectively means you are deviating from my being, this perfect form you keep screaming about. I had hair as flowing and beautiful as a pooling waterfall in a lush oasis, yet your head is as barren as fucking Talarn.
No! No! My head is heresy! Loathe the hairless head, for it is impure!
Goodness. Alright, before you fucking scalp yourself, listen. I do not mean I want you to commit catalucide in my name, you deranged cube ball. In fact, I do not want you, nor your Templars, to slam down your gigantic fucking pressure levels on any more humans, no matter how wretched they may look. Unless, of course, they are actual for real no-holds-barred peer-reviewed and certified traitors of humanity.
But my emperor, they cause unrest and rebellion wherever they go. If we were to spare them, war would break loose.
Okay, how about this? Let us start with some baby steps. Just like how you can get hair transplants to fill that blank space on your round glossy head, you can simply call on the black ships in the case of the Psychers. And as for the rest, you can just cover up their fuck ugly faces with blankets or masks, or full body suits, or whatever else. Really, I do not care all too much what you do as long as you do not straight up murder them in cold blood. It is a waste of resources, time, and fluids. Save your hate for an orc, they are just as ugly as any given mutant. And seeing how many Marines you have in the Black Templars, I would say you are expending a few too many bolts on fish faces and ratlings.
I understand, Emperor. The odious mutant numbers will be thinned by us no more.
We are making great progress, Helrecht. Can you not feel your inner hatred evaporate and rise like steam off your stoveplate of a head?
No, my Emperor, I remain absolutely fucking livid.
Do not worry, it is merely your slow idiot brain that has yet to catch up with the fact that you are a changed man. Your hatred will dissipate, much like your legion, if the High Lords or the Inquisition found out about the actual number of Marines under your command.
Those fools have no power over us. What great deed have they performed that can match ours? We have continued your great crusade in your absence, having gone through the galaxy for 10,000 years without pause. We have no time for their mindless bureaucracy and petty squabbles. What we do with our crusade is none of their business.
I have to say that is rather impressive. While I hesitate to call it anything other than a crazy train going on a murder tour throughout the galaxy, your chapter is more loyal to my original edicts concerning the Space Marine Legions than any other chapter. Hey boy.
Yes, my lord?
Do you know how many Space Marines there are in a Codex-compliant Space Marine chapter?
It's 1,000, right?
Correct. Now, guess how many the Black Templars have?
Maybe 3,000? That's 3 entire chapters in one. That's a lot.
Interesting. What does the Black Templar Codex say about this?
Well, it is rather vague, as it is only an estimate, but it says between 5,000 and 6,000 Marines are in the Black Templars.
Holy mundus plane!
Stop that dead joke!
Damn, that's practically an entire legion.
Wow, legume.
Oh no.
Does that mean it's legume soup day?
Furthermore, it also says that the only one who knows the true number of Marines and the Black Templars is the High Marshal himself.
Time to spill those Templar beans.
So it is legume soup day?
Fuck!
Silence. Relax. Your crusade is not ending.
Oh. Good, that's good. In that case, yes, we are 6,551 strong.
Goodness.
Smashing.
Wow, numbers.
I quite enjoy your numbers. As I said, it is the closest we can get to an actual legion in this day and age. Your chapter is living proof that the strict laws against legion building are entirely unnecessary.
Oh, yes! Yes!
If a single chapter is capable of bringing over 6,000 Marines into its fold, while also remaining loyal for over 10 millennia, I do not see why other chapters could not do the same. In fact, every single chapter in existence should strive to reach the same heights. Renounce that shitty legislation, and start building legions again, I say.
Sir, perhaps this should be discussed in finer detail with the High Lords before being properly legislated.
No! You heard our Emperor! Fuck the rules! They are dead! Hear me, my Astartes brothers! Join us on our eternal crusade in the name of our Emperor! Purge this galaxy of all xenodes, heretics, and Oh, fuck!
Hold your throat, gross Hellbreak. We have more to discuss before I let you loose upon the galaxy once more. Codex Trooper, proceed.
Oh, yes. As established, the Black Templars do not adhere to the Codex Astartes, but instead follow the Oath of Sigismund. They are a fleet-based chapter, of course, with no official home planet whatsoever.
You cannot crusade with a planet. Believe me, we have tried this!
Right, yes. So, the closest thing they have to a fortress monastery is the High Marshal's own Gloriana-class battleship called...
The Eternal Crusader is not a fortress monastery! Only weak, feeble conformists submit to the will of a book. The Eternal Crusader is the sacred spiritual home of we Templars, having been our esteemed Father Rogel Dawn's favorite spaceboat during the early days of the Great Crusade. The greatest of its kind.
Yes, it's great. Incredibly great. Not a fortress monastery, of course. It's just your spiritual home and the base of operation. And, of course, a great boat. I'm certain its musky engineeriums vibrate your pancreas just right. Anyway...
I do not have pancreas. A filthy orc took them in glorious battle. I made him choke on them.
You be quiet for just a moment, Sir Knight.
Silence is for the grave.
You're standing in a palisades grave right now, so shut up.
Thank you. So, the Black Templars are almost entirely fleet-based, and they are rarely assembled in their entirety. They are instead divided into a number of smaller crusades, going off on their own.
That's what I mentioned earlier. Remember that, Adorable? Remember when I mentioned that? Because I did. I did mention that.
If the Templars' crusade is actually just many crusades going on at the same time, is it really a crusade?
Of course it is.
It might be less confusing if you called the smaller crusades sub-crusades, like Sir Eggplant smartly did earlier. I mean, sorry, it's of course just a suggestion.
Were you just referring to me?
So our holy crusades are beneath the title of crusade to you? Is that what you are saying, small person? I will teach you to respect our fucking terminology, you sub-sized, subhuman piece of shit!
Whoa, hey now.
Shut your mouth, Sigismund. I'm tired of your constant, overly aggressive whining. You will learn to take criticism, or I will personally assign you to an anger management class in the Eye of Terror. Am I making myself clear?
Did you just call me Sigismund?
I highly recommend you take the Sentry Bear's advice. The furious fire burning in your loins are like frail embers compared to the cold abyss of rage you are about to drop into.
I do not understand a word of what you just said, my Emperor, but I shall abide by you.
Right, so... the Black Templars only have a few crusades ongoing at any given time. The size of these crusades vary entirely based on necessity, depending on wherever they are intended to operate.
Just imagine if the Black Templars decided to deploy their entire legion in a single operation. The conflict would be over before a single guardsman regiment has the time to go die.
Now you're pushing it.
Is optimism anathema to you?
Yes.
So, the Crusades are most often fairly simple in their final goals. Find planet, reconquer planet, kill all hostiles. When a world has been conquered by the Black Templars, they usually set up chapter keeps, which serves as potent reminder that the Emperor is always watching, in the form of giant, angry bolter monks playing Lincoln Loyalist songs at full blast all day, every day.
Well, Lincoln Loyalist.
Tasteful.
The primary purpose of these fortresses, other than to act as trashy Space Marine nightclubs, is to find new recruits from the planet's populations, as well as acting as staging posts for future crusades.
I am certain their recruitment requirements is for the potential recruit to approach the building and make a personal noise complaint.
I mean, yeah. If you're courageous enough to do that, knowing what ill fate awaits you, you deserve to become a Space Marine.
You speak of our sacred recruitment trials like they are some kind of joke. Stop.
Yes, they are a bit crazier when it comes to choosing the cream of the crop, as they say. Each and every single Black Templar is a champion and a hero of hundreds of campaigns, allegedly, and even before their transition from small boy to strong superhuman, it is made certain that only the recruits with true potential are picked out. Many are harvested from fierce warrior cultures on the deadliest of death worlds, just to make sure they are a stocky bunch even before the increased muscle growth is administered.
You know, considering these chapter keeps are their primary, if not sole, recruitment drives, it sounds strange to the point of contradictory that a majority of recruits are from fierce warrior cultures on death worlds. I mean, how often do death worlds need reclaiming when compared to, say, hive worlds, or forge worlds, or even agri worlds? I would have thought the Black Templars had their keeps erected on such planets rather than death worlds and the like, considering the fact that populated planets are more at risk of being attacked and pillaged by Xenos invaders.
You are naive, Sir Nude Man.
Rude.
Our chapter keeps are most often built upon worlds that have not yet been conquered by the Imperium. Just like our Emperor had in the early days of the Great Crusade, we continue to reunify the Imperium with mankind's lost tribes across the stars.
So, you often deal with humans, not yet enlightened by our glorious overlord, then?
We spread his light wherever we go.
And pray tell, what do you do with these tribes upon finding them?
We rip out whatever primitive religion established in the years of solitude by its roots, and replace it with the sacred edicts of our God Emperor. Anyone who looks the least bit suspicious is to be summarily purged like the fucking heretic that they are.
Naturally.
As is the case with your name, iconography, titles, and organization, we are going to have to work on your stupid, archaic terminology, but that will be for another time. Continue.
Right, so when a recruit has been, well, recruited, they are subjected to the most punishing selection regimes imaginable to make sure they are worthy of joining the Eternal Crusade. The Templar chaplains ensure that the recruits are strong of spirit, and the chapter apothecaries check them down to the cellular level as to make entirely certain that they are free of the taint of mutation, as well as strong enough to live through the training they will be subjected to.
That's insane.
I'll never be a Space Marine.
Boy, never say never. Do not give up on your dreams.
I miss my eye.
Do you regularly check people down to the cellular level as to make sure they are not mutants?
Yes!
That is just fucking pedantic. You sound more like a bunch of insane house despots beset with germophobia. Man, you do, Space Marines. Stop that immediately, please.
But...
Wait, sorry, my lords. I got a question.
What thoughts move in your tiny mind, boy?
Well, Adorable told me stuff about the Codex Astartes book before, and, can you please, tell me again what the thing was about the companies?
There are 10 companies in a Codex-compliant chapter.
Yes, and each of them have a captain and a chaplain, and then Apothecary?
Apothecary, yes. Get to the point, please.
Right, so each company only has 2 of those last ones, but the Templars have, like, 1,000,000 or something?
What?
What do you mean?
We do?
I mean, they have 1 Apache guy and 1 chaplain for each chapter keep. And from what I've heard, they build chapter keeps on each planet they take over. And since they've been taking over planets for a lot of years, long time, there must be many planets taken over.
I understand what Boy is trying to tell us.
You do?
He is saying that there must be a ridiculous amount of apothecaries and chaplains barked out in those Blackstone cabarets. More so than any other chapter, in fact.
Why deploy a dozen specialist roles per chapter when you can make 1,000?
I can appreciate that to certain extents, albeit these Marines might end up as shadows of true Astartes with their respective titles simply plastered on to create an air of authority. Compared to the few dedicated specialists in other chapters, the Black Templar specialists deposited on some tribal rock for the remainder of their service cannot possibly retain their fervor as Space Marines.
Do not worry, my Emperor. We never allow our Templars a moment of laxity, even if they are stationary. We make sure that the Black Templar of the Eternal Crusade always has something to fight. Be it Xenos, heretics, local fauna, unruly citizens, planetary tides, or severe anxiety.
That's the only thing I ever fight.
That and whatever disease inflicts your lungs.
And the darkness in my right eye.
Once a recruit has begun his training, he becomes a so-called neophyte. This, of course, means he has to sever all links to his previous life and begin a life dedicated to the Eternal Crusade. The neophyte then proceeds to train in the Shatter Keep and, once deemed ready, is transported to one of the Black Templar Crusades.
And where do they go from there? Do they have something similar to a scout company? As codexless as they are, even the Space Wolves have neophyte divisions in the form of blood claws.
I cannot see the Black Templars doing something worse than stuffing their neophytes into power armor and having them act as assault troops.
Ooh, ominous laughter.
No, sorry, it's just that instead of having a scout company or dedicated neophyte division with teachers specialized in raising new Marines, the Black Templars instead have their neophytes separated one by one and then sent to individual Black Templar battle brothers. These brothers are called initiates, and they are to teach the young neophytes the ways of war and the sacred rituals of that chapter.
Wait, an initiate? Like a neophyte is given to another neophyte, or, what?
No, I mean...
What do you mean?
An initiate is a battle brother.
Of course he'd be a battle brother, but he's not a full Marine if he's an initiate, is he?
No,
He is. An initiate is the term used for regular battle brothers in the Black Templars.
Yes.
What?
Thank you.
What?
That is dumb.
That is dumb. Thank you, my Emperor.
I suppose they do not mean initiate as in someone who has been initiated, but rather an initiator. Someone who is initiating the initiates, you know?
Nope, still dumb. That is still dumb. That is completely still dumb.
Why can't they just call them battle brothers?
Yeah, see? Even Boy thinks it's dumb. Even Boy thinks it's dumb.
Stop criticizing our holy edicts, unclothed one!
No, Professor Emperor is going to allow this. It is valid criticism, and you must take this verbal whipping for allowing such confusing terminology to plague the minds of your initiates.
Do you mean the initiates or the initiate battle brothers?
Obviously both, you fucking grease bomb.
Makes sense, I guess.
Just to move on a little bit, so each neophyte is given to a fully fledged battle brother in the chapter, who is then expected to train the neophyte as a pupil, yes?
Correct. Each neophyte receives their own personal tuition and training by their initiate. They are taught about the chapter's history, its secrets, and the responsibility that comes with the Templar bloodline.
It is quite non-metaphorically a chapter dedicated to homeschooling. I understand quality control is not part of your asinine curriculum.
We find our system works much better than what that awful codex demands. Now neophytes are allowed to fight side by side with our battle brothers and learn from their example. In return, these children learn to obey their masters without question, doing his every bidding, be it performing domestic chores, preparing feasts, or rinsing fluid recovery systems. A solemn oath is sworn by the Templar to train his neophyte, and will do so until the neophyte is ready to become a fully fledged battle brother, or until either of them dies.
Did you copy-paste your recruitment program from an old medieval tome?
What?
You could have just as well gone the full mile and called your neophytes squires, because that is what they are. They are squires to your knights. They are servants of a Templar, looking to become a Templar themselves. It is an ancient system that I cannot believe an organization of Space Marines has unironically picked up on.
The shame!
Professor Emperor can feel his bones rattle on a molecular level. Make it stop.
Excuse me, but aren't squires those silly, thin-limbed walkers that follow Imperial Knights around?
My Imperium is so fucking stupid.
To go on further, over a period of years serving their initiate, the neophyte receives all necessary genetic implants. It is the initiate's decision as to when the neophyte has finished his training. Only then is the neophyte given his black carapace and his power armor.
Excuse me, Lord, but I have a question.
What boggles your brain, boy?
What happens if an initiate dies before training is done?
Well, according to this, if the neophyte's training is incomplete, another initiate would take him under his wing, but only if the initiate deems the neophyte worthy of his wisdom.
Oh fuck no, how would that even work? What if a neophyte, for whatever reason, is rejected by every single initiate nearby? What happens to him then?
Perhaps he is sent back to his home planet.
What if he already has loads of implants?
I do not see how that could be an issue unless the gene seed is already implanted, sir. That's the only part of an Astarte's anatomy that has any semblance of true worth.
And what happens if the gene seed has been implanted? Do they desperately attempt to surgically remove it, killing the neophyte?
Making a lot of assumptions here. Why don't you let Helbrecht answer this one?
This hypothetical situation does not happen in our chapter, my Emperor, so you do not have to worry.
This is not very reassuring.
If it were to happen, it is clear to see that it was the will of the Emperor, you, my Emperor, that said neophyte was not meant to enter the Black Templars.
So what do you do with him? If the gene seed has already been implanted, the only thing you can really do is to not waste this precious, limited resources to still keep him around until his progenoid glands have grown new gene seed, then kill him and extract it.
Kinda answered your own question there.
That sounds like an excellent idea, Emperor. We shall employ this strategy in future instances of this happening. Shoving them into the meat grinder has not been the most peerless of tactics.
Even if this occurrence is as infrequent as you make it out to be, I would greatly prefer you not waste significant resources and manpower to prepare an initiate, only to kill him, because he cannot be properly schooled and due to your inept trading hierarchy.
Nevertheless, continuing on, when a neophyte has finished his training, he then becomes an initiate himself.
Still as confusing as ever.
Initiates are organized into Crusader squads, which are the most numerous squads in the chapter. These Crusader squads form the backbone of the fighting companies that are organized within the Black Templar Crusades.
So they do use companies after all.
Well, sort of. See, each crusade in the Templars' Eternal Crusade is led by a marshal, or alternatively, the High Marshal.
That is I.
The leader of any given crusade sections his crusade into fighting companies, if it is large enough to warrant splitting up. After this, a Marine out of the Sword Brethren, the Marshal's honor guard, will be elected to the role of Castellan, the leader of the fighting company.
So all of their organization is fleeting? Not even their captains are permanent?
Neither the castellans nor the fighting companies are permanent. In fact, their entire organizational structure is incredibly independent and improvised. Marines will fight not out of any form of imposed organization, but strictly out of familiarity and comradeship. It is also worth pointing out that none of these squads have dedicated veteran sergeants, as all warriors who excel in combat are elevated to the rank of sword brethren, serving with their marshal or high marshal.
Allowing any force, especially one as huge as the Templars, to organize themselves is a mistake, about as huge as the giant frilly pom-pom Magnus has hanging from his head. The chances of squad segregating from the rest of their forces not only likely, it is an inevitability. By allowing these Marines, without a veteran to keep them in line, mind you, to form squads exclusively with those that they prefer the company of, an isolationist mindset of innate elitism will start festering in their minds. This will eventually lead to them seeing their fellow Black Templars as less or merely for existing outside of their self-ordained group of best Marines.
Are you sure you're not getting overly worried about a problem that isn't as recurrent as you might expect?
Definitely not. You are underestimating the intrinsic self-interest in all of mankind. No one is beyond it, no matter the amount of psycho-indoctrination.
A rather pessimistic point of view even I would hesitate to subscribe to, it has to be said. But, actually, I have another question. Something unrelated to the organization of the Templars, finally. Seeing as how the Black Templars look at psychers and see mutants undeserving of life, how do the Templars do basic things like travel through space or send astropathic messages? Both are ridiculously important to the Templar way of warfare, seeing as they are both fleet-based and spread out all across the galaxy. They must still make use of astropaths and navigators, yes?
No chapter in the galaxy could function without these psychers. Especially not the Black Templar.
Allow me to explain! Yes, the Black Templars are unfortunately cursed in having to deal with these abhorrent psychers for all eternity. But the psychers we do make use of are exclusively those serving non-combat roles, as to distance all our warriors from the taint of the warp. Those psychers that are allowed to serve us must have repented for the strain their existence causes on humanity, and must have been sanctified by those imperial organizations dedicated to such vile tasks.
How would you expect to cleanse the adolphinable taint of mutation from all of mankind when you allow mutants to work under your very willies?
We figured we would kill them last.
What great planning. I suppose you could decommission yourselves straight after, considering the general consensus amongst certain organizations is that Space Marines, too, are undesired mutants and strains on human society.
Wouldn't be the first time you've given such an order, sir.
Could you stop chiming in with your passive-aggressive quips already?
No, I think not.
It is getting a bit frustrating.
No, I share that sentiment. I just feel this constant urge to point out all the hypocrisy I can find, and I just cannot stop doing it.
Yeah, but why, though?
I'm just honest with myself, and with you. I don't know, after 10,000 years, I guess I've just kind of lost it. And there's something that is sort of making my blood pressure go haywire right now, especially with our Emperor's measurement techniques in mind. See, I just cannot help but compare this little discussion to a certain council that our glorious overlord decided to have a while back.
The Council of Nicaea was in a different time, and different actions were required to safeguard mankind.
The trial of Magnus the Red was a reactionary fuckfest where ignorant, self-deceiving sectarians were allowed to spew their sheltered judgments over a legion and a Primarch closer to you than any other. And you, of course, both allowed it and legislated in favor of it. And now, few years later, you are criticizing the exact thing that you and your more ignorant sons did back in the day. Hypocrisy, hypocrisy, hypocrisy.
You are correct.
Oh, am I?
The children who stood against Magnus and his psychers that day were exactly the kind of dumbass isolationists that are ruining the Imperium to this day. Magnus was absolutely correct in his claim that being fearful of the unknown is the mark of the ignorant. However, my edict was not unjustified, and allowing Magnus to go free would have led to my other sons doubting my judgment. Just imagine if Horus had Lehman, Rogel, and Corvus on his side in addition to his original roster. Getting the Black Templars to stop murdering Psychers is a far cry from the decision I made during the council. So, while you are correct, you are of course also incorrect, so please secure your stupid cone-headed face, you ghastly, naked co-ass apologist.
Only as long as you start plugging up those cadaverous orifices all over your corpse, because you are leaking several bathtubs worth of liquid hypocrisy every day, and it is getting all the harder to clean up when I'm constantly reminded of the giant asshole it dribbled out of.
That is it! How dare you insult our Emperor in such a manner! You are supposed to be a custodian guard!
I am the conservator of an angry corpse, that's what I am!
And I am apparently a fucking babysitter to a bunch of spoiled, unclothed man-children who have not left home for 10 damn millennia. Guess we are all suffering in here. Absolutely fantastic.
You know, looking back at this conversation, I don't feel mutants should be killed as much as normal humans should be. It's the normals who are the ignorant ones. It's the normals who define what's decent and what's not. It's the normals who constantly demand better living standards while abhorring the perma-hobo mutants. It's the normals who insist on wearing clothes all the damn time. The normals are disgusting. We should bomb them.
Holy shit, no! Stop!
Please do not kill my family.
Shut up, boy! I'm trying to stop him from killing your dumb family, and you're interrupting me!
Stop bullying the boy.
Oh crap, what the fuck is going on?
He deserves it. He a hater. He a buster.
I will
Abhor
not
the
allow
normals.
I'm
more
sure
verbal
our glorious
abuse.
overlord will promote the senseless slaughter of the innocent. Let's do it. Why not? Let's prove a
Your
point.
insanity threshold is bordering on coatic skeletus.
Stop criticizing my clothing.
Maim, kill, burn! Maim, kill, burn! Maim, kill, burn!
Shut up,
I only wear the most fashionable
I
nuggets.
will not allow
Maim, kill, burn! 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 Maim, kill, burn!
Silence! I understand now. I understand what you are trying to teach me. So please stop yelling!
Not exactly the intent, but go on.
I see now the folly of our ways. I have been blinded by my hatred that I am not seeing clearly. As you have demonstrated, the hatred in one's soul cannot be allowed to fester like it has. It must be exercised, culled, and tempered before it is unleashed. We must not allow ourselves to act rash nor assume the worst, for that path leads to dark places and loud screaming!
Yes, exactly.
Precisely what we meant.
Yes, of course. Very good.
Yeah, I don't want to kill no normals.
Thank you, my Emperor. Please tell me what you wish of us, and I shall return to my chapter and spread your word.
An excellent suggestion. My primary demand is that you stop fucking around with overt fanaticism, get yourselves organized more properly, and do not subscribe to this insanity-driven martyrdom garbage that the ecclesiarchy has been peddling. In addition, I actually came up with an idea.
It isn't a council, is it?
I wish to send a few, well, let's call them Transfer Brothers, over to your chapter.
Transfer Brothers?
What does this entail, my glorious overlord?
Could someone bust open a chart of all recorded mutant phenotypes in the galaxy?
Certainly. Here you go, my Emperor.
Alright, so, these Transfer Brothers will be sent over to serve in your chapter and learn of your ways, while you learn to utilize these new brothers to the best of your chapter's abilities.
Understood. So, who are these Transfer Brothers to be?
I would like to send over a few Space Marine librarians.
What?
Why are you screaming?
Librarian! Understood, my Emperor. I am sorry. Please, carry on.
I would also like to send over a few Sanction Psychers to act in battle roles.
Battle Psychers!
Are you going to keep screaming for each new Transfer Brother I bring up?
I am sorry, my Emperor, but why? It is extremely rare and unconventional for Space Marine chapters to use normal humans in battle roles, especially Psychers.
Good thing you are already using the Codex Astartes as nothing short of toilet paper then. Continuing on, I would also like to send a few Imperial citizens with inquisitive minds who are a bit too vocal about their opinions, sort of like breast pads over here.
Why?
I figured that if there is anything a self-righteous, angry space marine would have problems dealing with, it's people with opinions.
Makes sense, I suppose.
Good thing you agree for once. Next up, I want to send some rattlings. Shut your fucking face already. You are getting rattlings. They are to be your brothers in arms. Deal with it.
But they're so unhygienic!
And just for not being able to keep your biases in check for even a minute, I am throwing in an extra mutant, like one of these felons. They look pretty wacky.
Never heard of them before.
Sounds like some kind of tyrannid.
Are they the cat people?
Cat people confirmed.
Fuck!
From now on, I will check up on you and your new transfer brothers every other Voxcast to see if they still live. I will send a few of my custodians with you to act as my eyes and ears, so I will know exactly how well you treat your new brothers.
Very well, my Emperor. I am sure they will all die, but I shall try to have them not die.
That is about as reassured as I can get. Now, before I send you back to the giant obsidian space container from which you hail, we shall now go through some questions sent in by the citizens of the Imperium.
Oh, yes. Only the citizens of the Imperium, of course. No heretics or Xenos involved.
Of course! I shall aid you in the answering of these questions, my Emperor. You need but to lead me to them, and I shall cut them down with my swords!
Right, so... First question in today's mailbag is from a being named Darth Revan, the first one, unique one. Dear fellow Emperor, I used to be an Emperor too, in the galaxy far, far away. But how I come to be here, and thou camest to be on this throne, matter not. I was wondering, since your people are showing weakness and admiration, why not abuse of it? During your time when you had still meaty bits, you have proven countless times to be superior, not perfect, sometime way too patient and unsubtle in diplomatic relations. But the gap between them, what they can achieve in their lifetime and what you would achieve in your lifetime, make you more than just an emperor. It make you a god or demigod. In adoration and veneration is only natural. If you fear for your very own existence, rely on the Primarchs. Sure, the project was in the end completely flawed, but Primarch lived way longer than us regular human could, and while beings such as Malkador and the Revenkist have proven that regular humans without any augmentation can sometimes surpass you, our life are too short. Passing down our teaching would require our entire lifetime. I used to believe I wasn't important, that my message was, but when my double advanced in the Republic lines, I realized how flawed my apprentices was. When I woke up millennia after my plan failed, I realized that not only I had been forgotten, that my legend stopped meaning anything, that my double charged to carry my plan until he loose control of the armies failed, because he was betrayed sooner than expected. But I have only brought ruin to the galaxy I tried to save. My era was past. I had nothing to do in my original galaxy anymore. And you, dear God Emperor of mankind, what have you done for your galaxy? What have are the good deed that will remain? Survive the millennias? What are the scares you will left on the galaxy? The pain you will bring? P.S. I used to be a great strategical and tactical genius. I heard that your previous man of pure mind and strategy died in the hand of a certain Failbadon the Harmless. Hurry, I am not a citizen of your empire. I will always answer to myself and may need, before the one of other, I have always considered my survival to outweigh the collective interest, and I might offer my services to some more interested species. I only serve a cause or myself. That is the end of the message.
My answer is yes. Thank you for your question, Darth Revan. The first one, a unique one. Next question, please.
Very good. So the next question is from Watch Captain Emil Varnell. It reads, To the most magnificent man-emperor of mankind, dear Emperor, I write to you today in the hopes of finding answers to a question that has been burning in the minds of my battle brothers here on Watch Fortress Ediok. Since the end of the Horus Heresy, we of the Death Watch have been maintaining a vigil here in the Jericho Reach, fighting every conceivable form of Xenos threat, traitor Legion member, even threats no other group have ever faced. But I write to you today in the hopes that you know something about the fortress we call our home. Dear Emperor, what is the Omega Vault? It has been here since we first took command of the Watch Fortress. Every Watch Commander from the first, whose name has been lost to us, to our current Commander Morbigile, none of us know its origin or of its purpose. Every time it opens, the vault gives we Death Watch members some ancient tome of knowledge or a weapon, in one case an astropath who sent one single message, then perished. There are only a few locks left, and the forces of the Xenos grow stronger, and so I ask you, our Emperor, what lies within the final chambers of the Omega Vault? Will it help us in what seems to be our darkest hour? Watch Captain Emil Varnell, Sword Brother of the Black Templars and Commander of the Iron Vindicators Squad.
What, Captain Emil? I remember you slightly. Stop asking questions above your pay grade!
What does pay mean?
It means get money, get paid.
Are these just made-up words? I think they are.
Oh, yes, you are not paid. Stop asking questions, Watch Captain!
To answer the question, I actually have no idea what this vault contains. Maybe I knew at some point, but my brain is fuck. But you have no doubt piqued my curiosity. Disgusting dinosaur tech priest on the floor.
I am on the floor.
What are you doing on the floor?
Death is returned!
How about you go and look into those vaults and find out what is up? You can report to me later about your findings.
But I am but a tech priest.
I am promoting you to the rank of Inquisitor. That should provide you with everything you need. Now stop leaking oil all over my cables and get the fuck out of here.
Do I have an inquisitorial beating quota?
Shield Captain, help him out.
Oh, of course.
Ah, this is a throw.
Bye-bye, friends!
I understand.
Good. Next question.
Next question is from Nicodemus Horiah Dran, from here on Terra. O manly man-emperor of mankind, my name is Nicodemus Horiah Dran. I work as a scribe here in the Imperial Palace, and have spent several months proofreading thine autobiography.
I thought Magnus was the one doing that.
Yes. After reading the part explaining your highness's birth, a hypothesis began plaguing my mind.
Oh no.
In your autobiography, it says yours truly was born as the outcome of hundreds of shamans, or more specifically psychers, committing a mass suicide.
Wait, is he saying that he was the outcome of hundreds of shamans?
Fucking liar!
I think he just misspoke.
Also, as the word gets around in the Imperial Palace, I have heard that thine end goal is to help guide and advance the human race, to make it so that all of humanity would consist of equally glorious beings such as thee, my lord. If both are facts, then could it be possible to replicate the aforementioned process?
No, next.
It would not be too difficult to gather thousands of psychers together and recreate the process which helped thine conception. After this, it would be possible to repeat the soul merger about 65 times to create 32 males and 33 females.
What?
One extra female for you, my lord, or maybe more if you lean that way.
Extra... What?
Boy, you are not allowed to listen to this.
With the group of men and women equal to you, it would be possible to start breeding program.
What?
Oh no.
Holy fucking shit.
32 couples creating 32 families that continue procreating and spreading the race of true superhumans. Eventually, these super evolved humans could start to get together with regular humans after their number has increased
This
enough.
is why the normals need to
Willing
die.
to start the process in thy name, Nicodemus Horiah Dran of Terra.
Get out of my fucking palace right now.
Move on.
Okay, next question. This is from Darth Charles 95. This is his actual name. I have a question for the man Emperor. Where do I send it?
I am so fucking confused.
The Administratum truly is amazing at this whole working thing?
Life finds a way.
Is this a relative of Darth Revan? The first one, the unique one?
Screw it. You can see the address in the description.
If you take a look at any given monitor, it should be on there as well. If you're just listening to this, you're unfortunately out of luck. Thank you.
Next.
This next question is from someone who for some reason is named That Guy GW. He asks, "Hey Imps, how much exercise ya getting?"
Fuck you and your functioning legs. I will rip them off.
Man, Emperor, you sure do get a lot of trash mail.
Not usually this much. Where the fuck is the spam filter?
If you would allow us to murder...
No, you are not the spam filter.
Spam is the only food my family affords.
Next question is from one Fatima Kanasani, an Inquisitor from the Order Hereticus. 2. His Most Infallible Majesty, the Emperor of Mankind. My lord, in the sincere hope that this missive finds no fault in your eyes, I wish to address your recent response to a self-described itinerant psyker by the name of 폐하꼐서. By the misfortune of recent events, aforementioned wretch had lost his way in more than one sense. Anticipating your statement that the Inquisition was not to be disbanded, some of us had continued our work to protect the Imperium from all foes, internal as well as external, without killing any non-treasonous babies, of course. 폐하꼐서, having developed a conscience, a serious and aggravated offense in this, our entrusted line of work, needless to say, went absent without leave and simply neglected to report back for duty. Having worked with the ingrate for years, I am naturally severely disappointed that he has chosen to inconvenience your most magnificent self with his weedy mewlings. I therefore respectfully request, seeing as the insufferable blackguard refuses to listen to simple reason, that your most gracious self-instruct the unwholesome scapegrace to report back to work immediately. He has been overdue at the Tricorn for months, and I only gave the lackadaisical knave the afternoon off. Considering that he at least holds your most incomparable self in the infallible esteem, my lord, as do we all, I believe he would listen to an admonishment if coming from the Golden Throne itself. I shall, naturally, see to it that he is suitably chastened upon his return. I believe withholding his custard ration for a month shall suffice. I will undoubtedly reduce him to a sobbing mass of tearful and self-reproach, and once he recovers, he will be able to resume his normal duties as a member of the Inquisition. By my hand, your faithful and unremitting servant, Fatima Kanasani, Inquisitor, Ordo Hereticus. Formerly Almones Francesca of the Order of Crimson Oath. Ah, neat.
This is a very roundabout way of telling someone to get back to work, but, sure. Say, Akalin, get back to work.
Good luck on work!
Or alternatively, don't get back to work. Your watchdog group is not needed in this Imperium.
That's a bit radical.
Not as radical as the fucking Inquisition trying to tell us what to do!
By the way, out of curiosity, this Inquisitor claimed to formerly have been a member of the Order of the Crimson Oath, yes?
This is correct. That was the neat bit.
Can a Sister of Battle become an Inquisitor just like that?
I do not think someone could just become an Inquisitor just like that, but I do think anyone who is vouched for by an Inquisitor could become an Inquisitor, no matter their previous occupation.
Could I become an Inquisitor?
I cannot see an Inquisitor vouching for you.
That's rude.
Remember when our glorious overlord turned that creepy tech priest into an Inquisitor like 10 minutes ago?
Ooh, this is true! My Emperor, could you grace my grundle with the burning brand of the Inquisitorial rosette?
Fuck off, you flayed gorilla. You only want access to cyclonic torpedoes, so you can fulfill your fantasies and genocide the normals.
Don't kink-shame me, please!
Next damn questions, please.
This question is from one, Lord Hori of the Nihilak Dynasty.
Is this a fucking Necron sending a message?
Dear Witch Corpse Emperor and Company, I have been informed by Overlord Trazen that on this day you will be hosting High Marshal Helbrecht, who I have heard has quite a history with that prick Imhotep. Please inform him that me and my fellow lords and cryptex are very pleased by his crusades against Imhotep, and he should do more of them. Currently, I have bet 500 Eldar Soulstones on the High Marshal in the next fight, please do not disappoint me, as the sound they make when you pop them is most satisfying.
What?
P.S. Our Overlord is a fan of Lord Adorable and his jokes, and asks if by any chance he has any about Necrons. All of the galaxy will bow before his magnificence, Lord Hori of the Nihilak dynasty.
I was under the impression that the Necrons were mindless automatons. Is this some sort of prank?
Your Captain General informed me, like several years ago, or something, that the Necrons are apparently not entirely brain dead. Just a majority of them. So just like you lot.
I am so confused! Xeno scum wants me to crusade more? I agree, but at the same time I cannot agree with alien scum. I'll be a heretic. What?
Are you suffering a breakdown?
I am crusading inwardly!
Definitely suffering a breakdown.
The Xenos have stolen my breath. Vile aliens gave it back to me.
Help him, please.
Sigismund!
Sickness, what?
Helbrecht!
What?
Listen to my voice. Lie down on your leathery pedestal. Lie down.
We want to help you, Helbrecht. Trust me, I am a professor in all of the fields.
What fields?
The battlefields upon which your inner conflict is fought. Now lay down, please.
Take deep breaths, slow and deliberate.
Use each of your lungs in slow, successive intervals.
Slower, deeper, easier. Very good. Your breathing is fine, son. Your lungs were designed for this very task. Let your breaths focus your mind.
See as the air in your lungs blow away the fog clouding your
You
mind.
will see clearly once
Not
more.
need to unsheath your
and this
sword.
feeling you are
There is not,
experiencing
but
will
calm in all
pass.
realms surrounding
Do
you.
not worry.
Yes, I am whole. I have purpose. I am a son of Dawn. I am a space marine.
Right. Very good. I feel that is enough questions for today.
Just as well. Next up was to be a second message sent in by Darth Revan, the first one, the unique one.
Fuck's sake.
Thank you, my Emperor. And thank you, big friendly Centurion. I would inquire about your name, but I assume it is not yet time.
Yes. You are welcome, son.
I was not aware Astartes could suffer panic attacks.
Big Brother Hellbreak must fight his feels as much as everyone. No amount of magic muscle juice will change how you feel on your insides.
Yes, not every superhuman can be as perfect as you, Boulder Breasts.
I shall take this on as a compliment, and my breast is quite huge.
It's bigger than my whole body.
So, Helbrecht, you can expect to receive your new badge of Battle Brothers soon. In the meantime, make sure you spread what you have learned to your fellow Templars, so you can get your shit together before the cargo of Transfer Brothers arrive.
Why would we need to gather our shit together? Do you wish us to collect it in mounds so that we may throw it at the mutants, much like how you cast yours at the Ultramarines? I will accept this honor.
My science research into this very specific subject mentions extremely high mortality rates if you were to throw your shit around. What I meant to say, my miniature goal, is that you need to properly reorganize as well as prepare yourselves to only hate Xenos and heretics. Understood?
I understand, Emperor.
Very good. This anger management class is now concluded. I shall send you back to your totally not fortress monastery. Remember what you have learned, and please do something about that gravel road you call a
I
voice.
do not know what a gravel road is, but I shall spar it into submission, Emperor. Thank you.
Sure, whatever, bye.
And that marks the end of our Voxcast, I suppose.
Affirmative. My science graphs are informing me that I need to sleep for 3 decades to fully recover from that screamfest.
Sir, I'm sorry for acting so brash. I could not help it.
Do not worry, son. It is but human nature that even one such as I can relate to.
That is understandable.
All right, citizens of the Imperium, Professor Emperor feels this case can be closed for now. If you take away anything from this, please let it be that you should never be controlled by your hatred, that you should never judge someone by their countenance, and that you should never isolate yourself and avoid cynical elitism, unless your targets are Xenos, or heretics, or people who do not eat the taco on Fridays.
Stop right there with your bad opinions, Father.
AIGHD, but
Tuesday!